Welcome to the Casual Camping Podcast, your home for the best camping discussion both in and out of the field. Here are your hosts, Tim and Aid.
Hello, and welcome to Casual Camping Podcast. I'm Tim.
I am Aid. It's like we don't know who we are today, Tim.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's because remember, the 5th of September. It's November.
Did you say
What?
you just said September?
Hey,
Oh my
should
God.
we start again?
It's the
Shit,
7th.
this is crap.
It's the
This
7th,
is
and now
crap.
Siri wants to know something. Remember the 5th of November. So yes, wasn't it a 5th of November? My word. I mean, it was bonfire night here. It was Guy Fawkes night.
Can we start again?
No.
Oh,
we
don't
never
make
start
us
again.
do that.
We never start again.
We never.
But
Well,
it was a 5th of November because not only was it bonfire night and Guy Fawkes night and loads of fireworks going off, America, our North American friends, had one heck of an election. Oh my word! I know
yes.
we don't do politics and stuff, but I was glued to the TV. I stayed up late and got up really early, and it was mesmerising telly. I have to say, it's
Wow.
incredible times we are living in, and all the more reason to get out camping and forget about everything. That's what I say.
There you go. I wondered where you were going with that, but yes, get out camping and forget about the impending world that seems to encroach on all our lives at the minute, whether that's price rises or political kind of things.
Right.
There's always winners and losers, and when you go camping, there's none of that. There's just those
Everyone's-
that can make fire and those that can't.
I was about to say everyone's a winner camping, but if you can't make fire, you're a loser.
You're a cold loser.
Cold, shivering loser. Go home. Unless you've got electric hookup and just plug your heater in.
Well, I was working for somebody this week, and they were telling me that they've really instilled good sense within their children. They've been camping, they know how to sharpen knives, they know how to start fires. And one of her children, the girl, got rather peeved with her new boyfriend that he couldn't start a fire. She was like, he's useless. He doesn't even know how. I said, oh, you must be really proud. And she said, yeah, they've got skills.
That's
Definitely.
really cool. Yeah, I would be proud of that. That's a proud moment. It's yeah, for her boyfriend selection, he must be able to light fires. I mean, surely that's top of the list. Always.
Well, I was saying isn't it really strange that when we grew up, we just had an open fire, and in order to heat the house, you got up in the morning and you lit the fire if you were first up. And that's from a reasonably early age for me, but really early for you.
Yeah.
And because Tim's a lot younger than me.
I am. I don't look it, though. He got the looks.
You do?
You're still dyeing your hair, though, are you?
Oh, of course I am. Dyeing all the hair on my body.
Ooh.
Takes a while.
There's a photo we don't need sharing on any of our socials.
Going camping in the wood tomorrow. You know what my camping nickname is? Sasquatch.
You've got a hairy ass. Sounds like you got a hairy everything, quite frankly. I'm getting a bit creeped out.
We don't need to go there, Tim. Okay.
No.
It went on a direction. Did that conversation that I didn't expect. Didn't think about it. And that's what an unplanned, unscripted episode this might be.
We don't need a script. Where we're going, we don't need scripts.
I've got the sort of inherent our audience thinking of them listening to this, shouting back, "Oh yes, you do!" Like some kind of pantomime.
Like a pantomime.
Oh yes, you do. We wish you did.
Oh no, you don't.
So yes, gosh, yeah. What a week! Bonfire night seems to be dying out in a lot of ways with the Halloween and the All Hallows Eve and all the other things that come with dressing up and trick-or-treating and stuff.
I love Halloween. Absolutely love Halloween. And we had loads of trick-or-treaters at the door, and I had a mask and stuff on to scare them all. And it was great. But bonfire night is something quite special to the UK, and it's just getting celebrated less and less and less, and it is part of our history and part of our heritage. And I did manage to get to an organised event, and I was absolutely gutted that there was no bonfire. It was a fairground. There was loads of food. There was loads of stalls to kind of buy some tat and some sweets and things. Which I did. I bought a burger. I bought some candy floss.
Do you get those glow-in-the-dark spinny things?
I didn't, but there were lots of them there, and I would have liked to have done, but I felt like I was just a little too old. Would have just been a bit creepy. And there was a fantastic firework display, and I have put a little video of some of it on our socials already. And it was great, and I love fireworks, and it was all set to music, and it was just incredible. They were brilliant. But I do feel like I'm a little bit cheated that, where was the bonfire for bonfire nights and all that sort of thing. So it is a shame. I agree with you. It appears to be dying out, and whether that's health and safety or whether it's just people can't be bothered anymore, or whether or not somebody's complained about the carbon footprint of burning a load of wood. It's it's a shame. It's a real shame because it is part of our heritage.
Does not compute, and that's the thing, isn't it? Certainly where I live, after the gunpowder plot was found out, the plotters met up in a village near here, like about 5 miles away from me, and just so. But I think that's the thing. Last time I went to a bonfire night, it was at the next town along, and it was a massive one, but you couldn't get anywhere near it. And I like to mess about with the fire a little bit, and all the bits that had fallen off that you wanted to get back into the fire, it was like nobody was doing it. I was like, God, you'd go all night with this, just chucking that back in. I should have brought me gloves and a high-vis vest.
And your long tongs. For our North American listeners, well, for anybody outside of England, really, outside of the UK, Bonfire Night commemorates the 5th of November, way, way, way back in the mists of time. Was it 1605? I'm guessing. I've probably got that wrong. Don't shoot me. Might have been a little bit earlier than
nobody
that.
Comes here for facts.
Nobody comes here for facts. Thank you. I don't feel so bad. It's where a group of Catholics tried to blow up the British Parliament. And the Queen, who was Protestant, Queen Elizabeth I, and they failed miserably. And then they got tortured. Some of them got cut to pieces, and a lot of them got burnt alive on a bonfire. And since then, everybody had to commemorate that by making an effigy of Guy Fawkes, who was one of the leaders of the group, and burning him on a fire. And so it's a great thing for kids to do.
Well, I mean, there's all these lessons. There's the nursery rhyme Ring of Roses, which was all about the plague.
Yeah, yeah.
We have given a lot to the world. I don't think we gave the plague. We had the plague for a bit, but I think there's all those things that seem to just get into sort of the sort of national identity of places. So,
Mm.
um, we've adopted Halloween, which is more of an American thing, but yeah, come on, you guys, you need to follow up Halloween with burning stuff.
Yes. Have
Yes,
Halloween, and then 5 days later, have a huge fire.
yeah, there you go. You see,
What's not to love about that? It's
yes.
So, talking of fire, we were trying to decide this week what we were going to talk about, and you suggested doing tent stoves, but I kind of said I think we probably talk about tent stoves most weeks.
You can see what I'm searching for on Amazon and
Yeah.
various other Google things.
Um, Go on then. Go on then. What are you looking for at the moment? I'll bite. I'll bite on my snacks. I've got a trio of snacks today. I've got a fake Kit Kat. I've got a Fit Cat. I've got a fake penguin. I've got a penguin, and I've got a Bueno thing that was in the cupboard at the back. That's probably out of date, but I'm going to eat it anyway. Mm.
Tim, you animal.
I know. I haven't had lunch. I haven't had lunch.
Yeah. Oh, well, so yeah, I've just had a corned beef sandwich with salad cream. Lovely.
Oh, corned beef and salad cream.
Corned beef.
Living
It
the
sounds
dream.
filthy, but it's we used to bunk off school at lunchtime instead of having horrible school dinners and go down to the local shop and get a corned beef and salad cream roll. And it was like we were living the high life.
Cool.
Yes. So yes, because it's as we talked about last week, upgrading your kit, and I have a tent stove, and years ago, because I bought it on the Never Never, and I've paid it long off, but I bought the tent stove that didn't have the glass, and I've always been envious of your Winnowill Nomad double view stove. So yeah, it's one of those things that I come back and look at again and again. I'm sat in my tent, and I only have a little small door window. Doesn't really cast the light like yours does. And I'm going camping tomorrow, so I was like, "Oh, I really want to buy it." And they've just updated their Woodlander and Nomad views with an external air vent,
Yeah.
which um, just makes a lot more sense. Certainly in tents to be able to not be pulling air out of the tent. That you've got that external thing. So one, it feels a bit safer. They've
Yeah.
also fiberglass roped the door, so there's a better seal. There's no cooking area on the top where there's that little plate that you can pull
Mm.
off. So yeah, I was kind of just thinking, well, you know what? If I flog my other one, and it'll almost pay for a new one. So it's me switching out kit, upgrading my kit, and doing whatever. So I'm a bloody nightmare. So
You
I've
are a
resisted.
nightmare.
It's only because I'm going camping tomorrow. I was like, oh, I want something new to play with, rather than all the stuff that I've got that I've only used 20
Hey,
times or
hey,
something.
we all know you've just bought a spatula. That should be enough for you, young man.
But it's not, Tim.
You've just
5 minutes and
bought
that
a
was in
brand
the
new
drawer.
folding spatula. You should be playing with that for days.
I mean, I've been sat at the kitchen table going, oh, look. Ooh. But yeah.
You shouldn't have
So
unwrapped it until you went camping, and then you'd have had
yeah,
all the fun.
yeah. But that's kind of the thing. I'm off camping tomorrow. Yay, winter camping. And
Don't rub it in.
me and Mr. Spires are going to get rather drunk and shoot the breeze and burn some wood and have a bit of a laugh with very other few people on the campsite. So,
That'd be cool. That would be
it
very
really
cool.
will be. So, but yeah, so with that in mind, I've been looking at, I'd really quite like to, when you've bought something, and I love the Winterwell stuff. It's a really, really good range. I'm not displeased with it. I want windows on it because I love to look at what's happening in a fire. And if you're in the tent, you want to see what's going on.
I love being in my tent with the tent stove lit, with the
Yeah,
windows on the front and windows down the side. And it just casts this fantastic light all around
yeah,
the tent. And I turn all the lights off, lay down, and just kind of lie there watching the fire. And it's just
yeah, yeah,
great. And even if it's like raining outside, it's quite nice actually if it's raining outside and it's a bit
yeah,
windy and you can hear it be a bit unpleasant outside, and you've just got this glow of the fire and you're nice and warm, and it's just,
yeah,
it is epic. There is That's probably the nicest time camping is
yeah.
kind of those moments. They're just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and for buying the other one, I'm pleased I got it. There was £100 difference between the one with windows on the side and the ones without, and I was like, oh, how much will I really do? So it's just me being a git, really, and just going, oh, I want something new to play with.
Yeah,
And I'm selling other things in order to do that. It's the joy of let me see what I can sell in order to get something new.
cool.
I think we all do that, don't we? Is it just me?
You do it.
Pourquoi?
You definitely do that more than me. I tend to buy things and I'm quite content with them. I
Oh.
tend to hold on to things an awful lot longer than you do. Certainly camping stuff. Other stuff, I'm smacking out a VR headset at the moment because it's like I used it three
Smacking
times.
out. That's
Smacking it out.
your term at the minute. I love it. I love it. I was
Smack
trying
it
to tell it
out.
to somebody. Smack it out. What was Tim saying? The other podcast. Smack it out. He was like, yeah. So I'm gonna get camping. Smack the stuff out. I can't do it as well as you. You see, it doesn't flow as well.
Well, good luck. Good luck with that. It's
uh,
where are you going camping?
just outside Evesham. For for days, I was looking for somewhere to go. Even walked down to my local farmer because there's a bit by the river, and I asked the local farmer if he would minded if I paid him if I could camp in the field by the river, but he was not impressed with that, but I thought it was worth a shot,
Yeah.
30 quid for a night. And he said, thanks for asking. So I guess that there's a lot of people that just go on farmers' fields and stuff. But I was like,
Yeah.
no.
You got to do the right thing. It's their land. It's
Yeah.
private property. You don't
Oh,
want to
yeah,
piss
yeah,
people
yeah.
off. But,
But then, and most farmers, they'll say yes and no, if they can do.
they'll say
But
yes and no. What's that just
yeah,
to
well.
confuse you?
Well, it depends on. I've heard that most farmers are kind of okay with it, so
Hmm.
I've heard that story, which has prompted me to go and ask, and he said no. So farmers will say yes and no, not together though. Maybe
Not the same farmer.
they'll look at me and go, "No, you'll be a handful, you won't you?" I was like, "Yes, I will be. I will be tomorrow at about this time." Um, So I was then couldn't really find anywhere because a lot of campsites have closed up. So it was pushing me to do that. We used to go wild camping in the woods, but the last time we did that, we got the car stuck. So we've kind of given up on that. Um, so yeah, we just need somewhere else, and there wasn't many places. And we were going to go back to the place that you, me, and Chris went to in January over in
Mm.
Droitwich that we found
Hmm.
on Pitch Up, but I wasn't really getting excited about revisiting that because of the sort of permanent caravans that are there. It takes away
Yeah.
from the being out in nature a little bit for me. I'm not saying anything about caravan lovers and stuff, but it's not camping, is it?
Well, caravan lovers, if it's a rocking, don't come knocking. Sorry, terrible joke.
Terrible joke. So yeah, somewhere near Evesham in the Grand County of Worcestershire.
Home of the sauce, Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. But yeah, that's why my fixation on, I want something new to go away with, which I think a lot of people do. I certainly do more than most. And it was swapping out one tent stuff for another. It felt like a nice, a nice
Would have
thing.
been nice.
I think I'm still going to do it. I think I'm just going to sell a few more things and then just do it that way. But
well, don't forget,
maybe.
you can list things for sale or links for things for sale on a Saturday on our Facebook group. So if you you can always stick some links for your eBay stuff or wherever else you're selling stuff, and that goes not just for you, Eddie. That goes for everyone.
That goes
all
for
of you
everyone. You see.
Don't post it on another day though, because our admin and moderators, they'll have you. They'll bite your legs. They're like a couple of Jack Russells. Couple of Yorkshire Terriers.
Oh dear. So fire pits. So you see, I've already talked about wood burning stoves.
See, it happens every time. Every time.
Just can't get me. What's Edie shopping now? Thank God I'm not rich. I mean, it'd just be a nightmare. I'd have a shed of stuff that I'd never used.
You'd have a second house full of stuff you'd never use.
Yeah,
you were rich.
I've been following. There's a new product on. I've been saying that I wanted to have pizza. Off the back of you saying you got a pizza oven for your fire pit.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to have pizza when I go camping, and I don't want to buy one of those big things with the legs and stuff.
An uni or whatever they're called.
Yeah. So I wanted like a fast fold oven or something like that. I'd really quite like to just play around with some of those things. But there is this new thing that's going to be on Kickstarter sometime soon that is how you get pizza, but if you're using a gas stove, and it's like this circular pot, but it's got a level on it. I think I've sent you the link. I will. It's a Swedish brand.
It looked a lot like a Trangia, but with like some extra layers and levels inside it that you could put dough inside without it going anywhere near the base, and then it kind of recirculated the heat all around on the inside because it kind of closed it in like an oven. Likes the look of it. My thinking is, can you not just get a little stand that goes inside a Trangia and just see if that does the same thing?
Yeah. You could.
That's just a tight-fisted version of me. Sorry.
Well, yeah.
You want to spend and buy new stuff.
Well, that's what this podcast is about. Ooh, what new things can we buy, Tim? Thanks for listening, listeners. Adrian's bought this.
It was one of our listeners, Mark. He put a comment last week after last week's episode, and he just went, "I'm only part of the way in. I've laughed like mad at the branded diapers." Nappies, and I'm about to cringe at how much I'm going to need to spend for the rest of this episode. I think it was Mark. Apologies if it wasn't, but I think it was Mark that put that on. But
I forgot about the diapers. I was gonna actually get like a pack or find a picture and just superimpose North Face and them onto you.
Oh well, I'm not quite back at work yet, so I haven't been able to go into one of the wards and actually just get some. But as soon as I'm back at work, you know full well I'm having one of those nappies and putting TNF on it or MSR. Patagonia.
I mean, we do have a few friends that get a little bit too drunk and have accidents quite regularly. So you know what?
Yeah.
They'd come in handy.
You mean Richie?
Oh, you're going to shame him.
Well, I've never seen it happen, but apparently he wets the bed all the time when he gets drunk. But hey, am I going to need to edit that bit out?
No, he don't listen. He don't listen.
He don't listen.
Yes. Anyway,
Oh gosh.
it's yeah. So this other thing, it's a Swedish brand, and they're going to be on Kickstarter later this year. And he sent me an email yesterday that went, "I've got 100 items of stock that I'm going to sell now before we go on to Kickstarter, and they'll be delivered for Christmas." And I was like, ah!
Oh my God. It's like he knew you.
so so you should be doubly proud of me because that was in my basket as well.
Well done. Well done. How much were they going for?
I think it was, because it was Swedish stuff, so 1,200 krona, or
Oh
whatever the
gosh.
Swedish kind of thing is. It was about £100.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk in sterling then. I was like, what? What? Some of those Kickstarters are like ridiculous, aren't they? But
yeah, so it's a Hacker oven, spelt HAJKA oven, OVEN.
okay,
And
cool.
yeah, have a little look because he's doing some great social media stuff. I really like the look of it. It's one of those things that, it crosses over from, you can add it to the kit that you've already got and get something new, £100 for a pot ain't too bad.
Cool. Stick a link up on the old socials when this episode goes out, and see what people think of it. See if we can get a bit of conversation about it.
But it's going on. Well, there's a few items that are shipping worldwide at the minute. Is doing a numbered 100, and then it's going to be on Kickstarter for delivery next year. So,
cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like he's done a small run to prove the concept. And
yeah, I'm really impressed. But that's the magpie in me. It's like something new. Put it in your basket. It should be my catchphrase, shouldn't it? Put it in my basket.
Oh my God. It's so I listened to last week's episode just before we came onto this, and I realized that I talked about my pizza oven that I'd got, and that I was gutted I'd never used it, and was dying to go camping, probably next year and use it. Well, I have actually used it now. So in the interim week, I decided, what am I waiting for? I can't get camping for a while, so I got my fire pit out. I got it lit. I put a load of charcoal in it. I sat the pizza oven on top. I was amazed that it's like a perfect fit on top of my Winterwell fire pit, and it was great. It got super hot. I went and made some dough. Went and made some toppings, and put it all together. There's a video. I've already stuck the video out on the socials, and I think it's over on it's on our YouTube and Facebook, because it was too long to go on the old Instagram. But it was great. It was absolutely brilliant. I kind of burnt the bottom a little bit, but that's user error, I think. And I was massively impressed. I mean, it's not the lightest piece of kit, or the smallest piece of kit. It doesn't fold up like a foldable oven does, but it does good sized pizzas, and it cooked it really quickly once it got to temperature, and it stayed at temperature for ages. So you could be chucking pizzas in and out of that for quite a while, and do like a whole group of you. I was so impressed. It's definitely coming camping. It was, 25 quid, I think it cost me. And
oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it was half price. It was in a half price sale in Argos, a catalogue shop. But it was great. So it should have been £50. I got it for 25, and I think it's one of the best £25 I've spent. It's really
Ooh.
solid, properly solidly built. It'll go in the back of the car and it won't break. You don't have to really look after it too much. It's I was so impressed, and it gave me the excuse to get the fire pit out and have a bit of a burn in the back garden, which I have to say was good for my mental health. It was really
Yeah.
nice to just kind of get a fire going and burn some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's the thing. You won't get any arguments from me whenever I see like bits of furniture that Lily's like, "Oh, we're not having that anymore." You know, I'm like, "Oh, is that for burning? Can I burn it?" But I've got that reputation. Like Lily's mum had a few dining chairs that were all falling to bits, so she was like, "Will Adrian burn those?" And she was like, "Are you stupid? Of course he will."
Of course he will. He'll burn them here if you like.
Yes. Take the matches off him now. Um, so yeah, I think just having a fire anytime. I've often sort of referred to it as my happy place. I did when I was working for somebody else. We did a lot of kind of mental health training and stuff for things. And part of that mindfulness that you have to get to is where's your happy place? Mine was
Mm,
always like a kind of autumn bottom of the garden burning stuff, just burning
yeah,
stuff. And they were like, oh, I was like, it's the kind of time of year like it is now in autumn in the northern hemisphere. Nearly got
nearly,
it wrong again.
nearly.
It's like me lefts and rights, Tim. North and South Hemisphere. I don't know why it comes up so much, but I
Yeah, I
just
don't think it's ever come up so often in my life before. But start recording a podcast, and suddenly you want to talk about the Southern Hemisphere.
no. I really have to think about me lefts and rights, and North and South hemisphere is the same. So it's a condition. I've got a condition.
We've known that for a long time, Ed.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so that's kind of my happy place of kind of making bonfires at this time of year. It's that, if I'm stressed about anything, I was like, yeah, just go have a fire. Always cures it.
Yeah, yeah.
As well as,
It,
maybe a few beers.
yeah, I didn't have the beers. I just I made a pizza, and then after I'd done the pizza, I kind of clocked how long the pizza oven was staying hot for, and it would have stayed hot even longer, but I took it off so I could just add some more stuff on top of the charcoal to just burn a few bits, which was great. It then gave me the opportunity to clean it all because I've been a bit of a naughty camper really, and on the times I've been camping this year, which I've been camping more this year than I was last year, which is always the aim. I haven't at any point properly cleaned my fire pit between
Ooh,
any of those camping trips. So, not that it's, you empty the coals and everything out, but I hadn't actually properly cleaned it all. And I burn a few things in my fire pit that you wouldn't normally burn in yours. So there was a few things
yeah,
kind of stuck to it all and everything. So gave me the opportunity to give it a really good clean and put it away for the year, which
yeah,
was good.
yeah. Well, and as we're sort of coming round to we're only 40 minutes into the podcast before we start talking about the thing that we
Are we
said that we
really?
talk about. Yeah. You wouldn't let us start again, so there's that horrendous starting point. But yeah, you've got a beautiful Winnerwell fire pit that folds down really nicely. It's stainless steel, which
It's thick.
really
It's really
helps.
it's really thick
Yeah.
stainless steel. It's heavy. Let's not pretend it's lightweight. You're not going to carry this up a mountain.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is. It's thick stainless steel. It folds nice and flat. It's got a charcoal grate in the bottom of it, so you can put coals in rather than just burning wood.
Hmm.
I've burnt a lot of coals in there because actually that's bent a little bit, and that
Mm,
will eventually I'll need to replace that at some point, but not at the moment. It's got years left before then. It's also got what I bought with it was they do an optional stand to put it on,
yeah.
which being the happy camper that I am, I don't want to scorch any ground that doesn't absolutely need scorching. And I know there's some sites that they're not too worried about that, but actually a lot of sites are actually quite worried about the grass, and
I
they
think
do get quite funny.
a few years ago, you could have a fire in a lot more sites.
Mm,
And they didn't really mind, but then because they expected people just to use the same pits,
yeah,
which then if you're camped up, it's a full campsite, things, people just go, oh, well, I'm going to make a fire here then. And you end up with loads of burnt patches all over the place. So I think they've all then started going, oh, well, you can hire a fire pit from us or bring
mm,
your own, and you've got to, make sure that it's not scorching anything. So,
yeah.
yeah.
So I bought that at the same time for that reason, because it's like a table that folds out, so it's got foldy out legs, and a little bit of a lip around the whole table, and it
Mm,
just means it elevates the whole fire by, I don't know, probably about 5 inches, and
mm,
it also catches any embers and stuff that does, because it can fall through the bottom of the fire.
mhm,
There's a little bit of a gap, and a little bit always does come out of there. So it just means it's nice and safe, but it's a incredibly well made piece of kit,
mm.
and proper bomb proof. And I burn coals on it. I burn loads of wood on it. I tend to burn a lot of my rubbish that's burnable, which I know people might frown on that, but I do kind of, if I'm sitting there, I've had a few beers and I've eaten some crisps, the crisp packets going on there. It's
Yeah,
just,
I don't mind any of that unless so there was a time, listeners, that we were making a breakfast and Tim was like throwing on all of the wrapping onto the fire underneath the sausages and bacon that we were frying up, and I was like, Tim, I don't want plastic taste on my stuff, so just be mindful what you're throwing on.
Yeah, yeah. See, I just love throwing stuff on a fire and watching it burn. Yeah, I'm not always thinking about, well, all of that is now tainting all the food that we're about to eat.
We're so careful about the PFAs that that lid might be PFA and whatever, and you shouldn't have that in your camping stove. It was like, I'll go camping with Tim. Sorry, I'm eating just plastic like burnt onto me food. And from here on
Oh,
in, when Tim offers a burger, surprisingly nobody takes them.
get
Oh no,
away. I've
Tim.
learned from that episode. I have learned from that episode, and I don't do that anymore. I did used to do that quite often, just chuck anything on, but no, I did realize, yeah, that's probably not the right thing to do. I now tend to, I might light my fire if I'm going to cook on the open on my fire pit, because my fire pit comes with a couple of grills as well. What I really like about it is it's not one grill that covers the whole thing. They're in two
Mm,
triangles. So if you just want one on, you can do. If you're just going to use part of it, and you've still got access to the fire, or if you're going to cook a load of stuff on it, then you can put both grills on.
mm,
So it gives you that flexibility. But what I normally do if I am going to cook on those grills, which I do like to do, is like some steaks and some like vine tomatoes and stuff like that on there. I tend to light the fire with some charcoal and cook on the charcoal before I then start to take all the grills off and start chucking loads of other stuff on there, because a lot of the wood we end up burning, it's not always seasoned beautiful logs. Like you say, sometimes it is bits of furniture and bits of all sorts of weird stuff.
chair leg with like 1800 varnish on it, like
Exactly. I don't
nice
want to
bit of
cook.
lead.
Yeah, I don't want to cook my food on that. It's I have learned, you
Uh,
see, I do learn.
yeah. I mean, I'm giving you a hard time, and I can hear my friends going, the amount of plastic that A threw on that bonfire when we were on that beach in Scotland, he should be ashamed of himself. It was a cold winter. Nothing burns as hot as plastic. And we cleaned up a beach. We cleaned up a beach and put it in the atmosphere.
I'm gonna say it and put it all in the atmosphere.
I was young. I was young. Um, I was
No,
younger, not young.
no.
Yeah, it's an absolutely cracking. Anybody wants to have a little search for that? It's a really good setup. You've heard me talk long and hard about my Snow Peak pack and carry fire pit.
You have
Similarly,
you have had that such a long time though, and
yeah.
it has done so many camping trips, and it is, everybody knows Snow Peak's fantastic brand. It's one of your favorites. It's
Mm,
a premium brand. It's really expensive, but I think that fire pit alone tells you everything you need to know about why Snow Peak is more expensive than a lot of other places, because you've had that donkey's years. It has
yeah,
been on a ton of camping trips. It has had a load of stuff burnt on it.
yeah,
Most of the time we tend to use your fire pit, and
yeah.
historically before I had my winter well, I've had other fire pits that we'll get to, but we're really poor quality. And so actually we always lit yours, and people sit around yours. It's worth every penny. Worth every penny.
It massively is, and I've like with anything, I really take care of stuff to start with. And then, I've had whole winters where it's kind of sat outside because it's stainless steel. There's
Mm.
bits there's an underplate that goes on to stop anything dropping and scorching. That started to rust a little bit, and I've sort of had to wire wall that off and then repaint it and stuff. But that's because it's in contact with the ground, so it
Hmm.
started to go. That is just steel, painted steel, but everything else within it is just robust. There's scorch marks, but there's no warping. It comes with a lifetime guarantee. It
Mm.
packs down. It's a heavy bit of kit, anything you're not going to get. I keep on seeing those. Have you seen those little fire pits where it's like 4 or 5 sticks and there's a wire mesh net?
Yeah,
They're,
yeah,
they're,
yeah.
they're on Temu and they're on sort
They're
of
everywhere. You get them for about
yeah,
£15,
yeah.
$15, something like that.
Then they're not going to last 10 or 15 years. I love the look of them and things, but the reason things last is because they're made out of quite a bit of metal.
Yeah.
Whereas wire and other things, if you're going for lightness within a fire pit, generally you'll get 1 or 2 seasons out of it,
Hmm.
and then it'll knacker. A bit like the cheap chairs, camping chairs that everybody's gone through millions of them, and yet you spend a little bit more money and you can use them season after season after season.
You
So
get you
it
get what
just
you get what you pay
you get
for.
what you pay for,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Like you
Um,
say though, those wire mesh ones, they look great, and they
Look
certainly give an
fantastic.
awful lot of air to the base,
Yeah. And
and
looks lovely as a fire. That's what you
mm,
want to see, isn't it? When you're
yeah,
out camping.
and it packs really small and really light. So actually, you can carry that up a mountain. It's probably worth having one of those to give it a try. I've looked at them for ages, but I've
Mm.
never gone to the point of actually buying one because I always, we're car campers. But actually, it would be nice to kind of hike into the woods and have a safe fire that's off the ground. That's
Yeah.
it's an option. It is an option.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard or seen people on Facebook that have motorbike touring and stuff, and taken
Mm.
one of those that they can just pack it down, roll it up, it goes in the back of the bike, and they're off. So
Cracking bit of it's an option, isn't it? It is. As you
yeah,
say,
yeah,
you're not going to get 10 years out of it though.
yeah. And so I mean, I've used lots of fire pits. I think I talked last week or maybe the week before about I've even used a little shopping basket when we were caught short in Scotland one time. We did tidy away and everything, but yeah, used that. It worked, kind of thing.
Mm.
But I've also got the rather excellent um, BioLite fire pit.
Yeah.
So anybody that knows BioLite, we've talked about them before, and they were quite innovative in regards to the kind of secondary burn, they do a little stove that the fuel is little sticks and twigs and things like that in order to boil things, but it's got a secondary burn that then reuses and charges a battery. And comes with a little light. And then that was their first product. Then they've done lights, they've done batteries, battery packs, and various other things. And then they came out with their last big thing that I remember anyway. I'm sure they've had more than this. Was they came out with a fire pit, and it was kind of turning that initial thing on its head. So rather than the fire you charging a battery, they had a battery that helped the fire. So the battery has a blower and it blows. It's got 3 settings on the blower, 4 settings on the blower, and there are air pipes going through it, through the fireplace to just keep your fire going. And for me, it's an incredible fire when you're winter camping, and you've maybe got damp or wet wood and stuff like that. It's really helped me out in a tight spot that has kept just that thing, and the battery will last all night, on full power for, I think it's got something like a 6 or 7 hour lifespan. So, and you can also charge up your phones and stuff. So it's kind of that, their technology from the first thing, they've kind of put it on its head. And there's been a couple of reiterations of that, but really, really like it. I think I'm going to take that tomorrow camping when I'm not sat in the tent. In the tent, yeah. Gonna have an early evening, be outdoors, and then sort of, should we adjourn to the tent for cocktails? A nice gin and tonic,
a bottle of port.
Bottle of port. I've not had any port for ages.
Oh, it's port season. I love that fire. I love that BioLite fire. And BioLite, again, another fantastic brand making really quality stuff. It's like you say, it's got its purpose, hasn't it? Of it's great at keeping a fire going when your wood isn't necessarily perfect, and it just keeps blasting it with air, so it will burn. And I think we've used it once on a camp, you and I, and we did rattle through quite a bit of wood because of that.
Yeah, of course.
So
it's like
so it will
like permanent bellows on it, you know. But it didn't half get the fire going, it gets a good flame.
And the whole fire is a flame because of that. Yeah. So it's the whole thing is on fire, which is it's impressive. It's an impressive piece of kit, and took no time to make a decent sized fire. There was none of that hanging around waiting for the flame to kind of spread, or no need for a blowtorch. With a BioLite.
There might not be a need, that there is a want, Tim. What? I don't need to light the blowtorch. I'm lighting it anyway. I have seen in over the last couple of years, because there've been some innovative, different types of fires coming out there. So because of the wildfires that have happened in the US, Australia, to mention, some of the big ones that we've heard on the news, but I know every country, most years in their summer have some kind of wildfire, but certainly the US and Australia have been some of the biggest that I've known. There's a company called Howl, HOWL, in the US, that do a campfire off a gas bottle.
Oh yeah, I've
I
seen.
think
I've seen.
I've
Yeah, you shared that with
yeah.
me as well. Yeah,
So they've
that's
got
quite cool.
coals and stuff like that, but certainly there's certain areas now in the US where it's prohibitive to have
Mm,
a campfire because of sparks, tinder, and dry brush and things like that. So this company came up with those. I'd love to have a play with one just to see. Just such a nice thing. I don't think it'll ever beat a fire, but you imagine how annoyed you'd be if you were living somewhere that you just couldn't have. You like
yeah,
going camping, but you can't have a campfire.
yeah, yeah,
So,
totally.
so
It
yeah, so
it
they've tried
gives you
to
the look of a real fire, doesn't it?
yeah, and
And
it really
flames.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks such a good bit of kit. Have a yeah, we'll put some links or some pictures up this week. Make a note,
Mm.
Tim. You're the tech guy.
Am I? Okay.
If you leave it to me, I forget about it. I had an ideal thing last week of a superimposed nappy, North Face nappy onto you, and I forgot to do it.
I'm I'm so glad.
God damn it.
So is everybody else.
You'd have had clothes on. I'm a big boy now.
Oh my God. Can I just say, listeners, my brother does not have a picture of me as an adult with no clothes on. That's very weird.
I was going to say that you know of, and then got creeped out as I said it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's great. Good night, everyone.
We're just going to leave you with a minute mindfulness in your own thoughts with that one.
Yeah, and it's just howling wind this time.
Well, that's tumbleweeds, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh God.
Uh,
So my fire pit before that I used for a few years was actually just a steel wheel off a car. I think it was like
oh
a
yes, I
six
remember it.
yeah, it's like a 16-inch steel wheel. And it was somebody on eBay was doing them with like welded legs to them. So they stood off the ground and you could get a
Mm.
bit of air underneath. And I messaged him and just said, is there any way you could put those legs on so that they're not permanently attached, where there's just like wing nuts that you could put them on? And he went, that's a great idea. Leave it with me and I'll have a play. And he came back a few days later and he'd figured out how to put wing nuts on it so that the legs detached. And he sold me it for cheap, and now he sells them on there all the time.
Brilliant.
So I thought, well, instead of it being like a fire pit for the garden, actually it
Mm.
could be a fire pit to take car camping. Weighed an absolute ton.
Yeah.
I kept it inside a drum bag. So I bought a drum bag off the internet, for like a drum kit.
Yep.
And just it slotted inside that. The legs went inside it. It came with a grill. He did like he'd welded like a grill to get that was perfectly the right size just to sit in top of it, so you could cook on it as well. And actually, it's that will still be living somewhere in a previous house because I left it in a previous house. But I'm sure it's gone on to have many different adventures because you ain't ever going to destroy that. It'll live forever. But it was great. It was just incredibly heavy, but it was a fantastic fire pit because all the a steel wheel, it's got lots of holes in the bottom anyway
Yeah,
because of the
yeah.
construction of a wheel, so there was lots of areas for air to get in.
Mm.
Quite a bit of the coals used to fall out, so I used to put some like chicken wire in the bottom, which would burn each time and would disappear, but it 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 would stop the coals from falling out, and it was a great fire. It was absolutely brilliant fire. But it just weighed so much and was quite a massive piece of kit that was really quite solid, and took up a lot of room to store, a lot of room in the shed where I kept it at the time. So it was not ideal, and I was always jealous of your folding flat fire pit that I really wanted an alternative, but again, too tight-fisted. So I think this was about 25 quid for this, and then probably a tenner for the bag for it to go in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the thing, and I know I spend a lot of money on things, but that was another purchase, the Snow Peak one, where I was just like, we'd been somewhere and they wouldn't let us have a fire, and I was like, well, it's camping. I don't want a big fire pit that I've got to. So I found it, and then just thought it's going to be worth it. And
Yeah.
bar none, it's my best purchase camping. But they all do the same thing. They all hold wood. You've got to be off the ground with them. In regards to those, it's just the more convenient thing of something that flat packs that goes. It tends to be the thing that I put in the car the first and pack everything on it because it's so robust.
Yeah.
And those are the different kind of fire pits that you can get. It's
They
there
come in
was
all
one.
shapes and all sizes. Do you remember we had a day where we were trying to invent one? Do you remember you came around to mine a few years ago and we were playing with some bits of sticks, some bits of cardboard, and we were trying to come up with our own version of a fire pit.
Oh
And
yeah,
and I came up with that fire twist where it's
yes.
lots of spindles that you twist round and then they kind of spring out. It's yeah, we should do that actually. We should do a casual camping podcast fire twist.
I've seen a fire twist now. Somebody's actually done one.
Damn them.
Yeah.
Oh
My
well.
my idea was for legs that kind of popped out, but it was kind of a triangular kind of thing.
Mm,
Uh,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that. Have you seen those ones where they're like three pieces of sheet metal of a similar shape, and they interlock to make a triangular, like an upside down pyramid that you can then have a fire in, and they
Yes.
kind of slice into each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people doing those, and they're really quite cool. They
Laser cut steel. It's just quite nice and precision stuff.
mm,
Um, Easy to put together. Mostly if the steel is quite thick, then it's it's not going to warp or anything like that. So
no,
yeah,
and no moving
yeah,
parts.
no moving parts. Yeah, and this day and age where you've got to have things off the ground, a fire pit is the ideal way to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it is. Burn stuff, people. Go out and burn stuff. It'll make you happy. Not houses, not other people.
Take your attention away from various screens. But
Yes.
we saw some great videos this week from our listeners who sent through on the socials, some of the things that they were doing and some absolutely brilliant cracking fires. But getting
Mm,
out there in the winter, using tent stoves, it was just absolutely brilliant.
absolutely brilliant. Shall we drift over to a minute mindfulness?
Mm.
Here we go.
Welcome to the Casual Camping 1 Minute Mindfulness. Let the sounds of the outdoors take you back to the camping field.
There you go. That's enough to get you wanting to go out and burn stuff, if nothing else is.
Well, I I would say if anybody's in the Evesham vicinity tomorrow to let me, but I'm going to be in a bit of a state. Nobody's going to want to. I'm going to be in a field somewhere. But yes, get out camping, people. Uh, it's not quite winter yet here in the UK. It's quite mild. It's not been as wet as it could be at certain
No,
times
the
of
ground
year.
should be good for you, actually.
Yeah, so yeah, have a think about it or get shopping for that next bit of kit. You know what you're after.
Yeah. Well, have a good camping trip, Aid, and same to everybody else that's out there. And we will see you next week with some more nonsense. I've been Tim.
I've been Aid.